Hi, everybody. So hopefully you can hear me. I just realized I didn't put my microphone on. So it's been a very interesting day. Um, so I just want to ask, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Z? Okay.
Yep, I gotcha.
So Z and I are here together to talk about the multiverse, the galaxy, and also how we get very distracted in all the details and they're constantly changing. So it's important to let them float a little bit. But let's talk about them anyway. How are you doing, Z?
Doing fantastic. Hi, everybody. How are you doing?
Okay, I'm doing good. And Z and I have a program uncovering gifts. So if you're interested in that after we go through these, feel free to look at the link below.
Absolutely.
Yes. So basically, we're in a game, and it's a cosmic game, and there's a whole lot of players. There's a whole lot more than these characters here. So every single soul is in on it, basically. Um, so it's changing all the time because we have what's called a multiverse, which is really perspectives.
I really just I have to laugh at this picture again.
I know, so funny. I'm like, look at these weird characters that they came up with.
And I'm like, hey, honey, look what we brought into our experience right now.
Yeah,
Just a little weirdo. That's great.
yeah, those are some spacesuits, I gotta say. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, we're not wearing spacesuits up there, obviously. We don't need them. Um, but if you're confused about what's really going on, start thinking about like consciousness is what's driving my body,
Mhm.
and think about movies like The Matrix and the multiverse movies. Remember that the moon, there's two moons that I talk about usually.
Mhm.
One of them's the luminary that we see that's local, and one of them is the moon that was the Anunnaki moon that we can't see.
Mhm.
And then the sun is also local.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and I was hoping that this would let me go to the next picture, but it looks like we're gonna have to go out.
Yeah.
Oh, joys.
I would just like to say here, as an overview for what that image was in the universe, the galaxy, the star systems, all of that is what we're looking at as a game here in the universe. And that's what consciousness also likes to see this as. This is a game of learning. How does it want to learn? How does it want to grow? And so, all of those beings and souls, from a human perspective, can look like they are playing games. I've had so many visions where I'm like on a game board. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, yeah, what's my next play here? Because that's really how the universe works. And play not in a serious way either. Play in a like, let's be curious about this, let's explore this, let's be joyful about this, let's get excited about it, and not in a wrong or a right way. It's very calm in that sense. Like everything is quite neutral. It's just how we decide to experience it.
Yeah, it really is. So here's our luminary.
Yes.
And think about the moon. Think about the Truman Show. Like the moon never changes. It always looks the same. It's a map of the land on planet, at least the land that we know of, you
Mhm.
know. So like how could that actually be orbiting the Earth? I heard NASA just gave all their stuff up to SpaceX recently too.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Oh, there's that picture. Okay, so we're gonna go this way. So here's the sun, and the sun is also local. And there's been pictures with the sun where clouds are behind the sun and the sun is in front. Like that doesn't happen if it's a million miles away.
Yep. Mhm.
So this, I'm gonna let you talk about this one.
Yeah. So in the previous photos, just kind of bring this into some context. What we were really looking for is we had some questions and inquiries, and I've had this even the last couple of weeks of like, well, what does astrology do? Like, what do our moons do? What does that actually mean? How does that affect us? What does that look like? And really, it comes back into consciousness is trying to show us a perspective to look through, and essentially, it's still going to come back to us in our lens. So it's not for us to look outwards for an answer, which is another nice little cute part of the game that we chose for ourselves, is like the moon is shifted here. That's going to tell me that I'm feeling this, when really it's the other way around. And we are perceiving the moon. That's not something that is giving us a lens. We are seeing that for ourselves.
Yeah. Remember in the Matrix how all that ran down the screen behind him was like ones and zeros. Now I don't see the Matrix that way. I see it as like grid patterns
Hmm.
and light and stuff. So I don't see the ones and the zeros like he was, but it's not what we see with these eyes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yep.
So this is the China thing. This
It's
one
so
was
great.
so funny, and it doesn't even encompass all of them. There were seven, so seven suns.
Hmm.
And to me, this was showing the hologram. It was showing like the reflective abilities of the hologram. We do have several suns,
Hmm.
but we have two local suns. You know, the other suns are actually really farther out there. They're
Hmm.
in,
Hmm.
in the firmament, and they're beings.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, our sons are they've been a great balancer for us. They are aspects of consciousness. This picture to me is showing like the holographic matrix in layers. So
Mhm.
there's the one that is close to us. There's one that's a little bit further. There's an aspect that's etheric, which is entirely astral. So it's just giving you those paradigms, and it also is an aspect of showing you that we're in a matrix, but there's infinite amounts of matrix. Like there's so many matrix out there to be able to work through. So I wanted to kind of bring that back into, if you have seen the matrix, and see, I see things in binary codes um, a lot
Oh,
of times. And I'll also see it in binary codes along with a format that you see it too. It really kind of just depends. And light codes, but most of the time I am seeing binary functionality and logarithms. So, with that being said, everything can shift with one thought form, and the matrices, uh, they're infinite. So if you feel like you're stuck in one matrix, you can easily say, "That's not the matrix that I want to be in. I would like to be in this one." And that is
mhm.
also parallel shifting. So I just wanted to make a link there for those who are trying to kind of look at like, well, what does that actually mean? What does that look like? That might just be a little bit helpful for a perspective.
Yeah. And remembering that, and we're going to talk about this like in a series, but remembering that every single thing that we see in the sky, unless it's a constructed thing like our constructed sun, but all those stars and, those are beings and they're in on this game. They're players.
Hmm.
So Earth is like the biggest player. She's got the most collateral in this game because she's carrying us around. She's a player and the board.
Yes.
So she's got a lot going on. But just to kind of remember that we could be shifting like thousands of times a day, and that's going to shift all the realities. So just like Richard Simmons and all those people that died
Mm.
a long
Yep.
time ago, now they died again. Like
Yep.
that's shifting reality. So you can shift
Absolutely.
the astrology as well.
Absolutely. And just again, as a perspective, if those of you who are super into astrology and just really like that context to help you grow, also know too that you can shift your parameter. I mean, there is the body aspect that's like, I came down in this imprint in this time and space. expand it a little bit, because that doesn't mean that you have to stay in that parameter for your learning experience either.
Mhm.
It's really to go back into self and be like, hey, what do I want to explore within myself? And that I'm realizing that I'm reaching out, instead of reaching inwards. And that can be a great guide. And it can also just help you know, oh, too, look, there's more out there than just that as well.
Yeah. Well, and I think too that's why all these other bodies are coming into astrology. So Kelly talks about that.
Yes.
And there's more bodies that are impacting astrology now than ever before.
Mhm.
And they're also coming into the charts.
Yes.
So I think that has to do with us changing our soul contracts and all that
Mhm.
kind of stuff.
Yep.
So think about it that way. And this comes, this was instigated because of a comment that was really focused on astrology
Mhm.
and the worry about, like, well, what about all the bodies up there? They're beings. They can
Yes.
move if they want to.
Yes. They're just as fluid. In fact, they're probably just they're doing their thing looking at us in the other direction and being like, "Huh, what can I learn from that?"
Yeah.
What does that look like to me? And that's generally how beings in consciousness interface with each other. And from a higher perspective, we all are one and we have our unity consciousness, but we all have our unique essences that run around and learn and grow. And so we look at our star systems and think, oh my gosh, they're so much older than us. They're really not. They could look at it the other way too, and see those interfaces, because there is no time. So just know that we're all in our own growth processes. Those beings out there in the galaxy, all of our star systems are consciousnesses like us who are also looking at us to learn.
Hmm. Yeah. And we're a big learning point right now
Yep.
here on Earth. Yeah. So, um, shall we? I feel like that's good. I feel like
That's good
that
for this
makes
one.
sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. We'll see
All
you in
right,
the next
everybody.
one.
Yep, absolutely. Love you.
Love you.